Welcome to another episode of Office Hours, the recap, where we go a little deeper into the discussion that we had in our Discord room over on chatbotbuilder.ai. Let's get started.
Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take the sources you send us, dig into them, and pull out the key insights. Basically, we want to get you up to speed quickly and hopefully entertainingly.
Exactly. And today, we're jumping into AI tools.
Right, specifically looking at JSON, how that's used, and also this integration of voice AI. This all came from an office hours recording someone shared.
And this is really for you, the listener, who we know wants to kind of get the core ideas fast without getting bogged down in, all the technical jargon.
You want those aha moments.
Yeah, precisely. So we're looking at practical AI stuff, automation, and these new developments in making AI sound more human.
Okay, let's dig in. JSON first. People might have heard of it, but how it's being used now as like the backbone for managing data from AI chats. That was really clear in the recording.
It's pretty fascinating, actually. Think of JSON as this super efficient translator. You've got an AI gathering info, maybe booking things, maybe even in different languages like the example mentioned, Portuguese. JSON takes all that messy conversation stuff and structures it, makes it clean so other systems can actually use it. It cuts through the vagueness of just talking.
Right. And wasn't there a challenge mentioned? Like getting the AI to sound natural, not robotic, but still reliably grabbing the specific data points you need? That sounds like a tricky balance.
It really is.
Yeah.
How do you keep it conversational?
Right.
But still make sure you capture, say, the exact email address or the specific date. It's different from just having a form with boxes.
Yeah, those static requests versus these more fluid AI-driven chats.
Exactly. And that's where JSON comes in handy. It lets you map the info from that natural chat into your structured fields. So what's your email, or could I get your email? Both end up in the email field.
Oh, okay.
But, and this is crucial, it came up in the recording, you have to give the AI really clear instructions. Tell it what you need, what format, so JSON can parse it correctly. It's like giving formatting rules for a report.
Got it. And they mentioned a specific trick, didn't they? Something about putting the desired fields right in the user message part of the prompt.
Yes. That was a neat takeaway. So you'd actually say something like, find the customer's name and order number in our chat history and give them back to me in JSON format. That directness seems to help the AI focus.
Less guesswork for the AI.
Exactly. Fewer errors when it tries to pull the data out.
So that makes you think, well, where do you put these instructions in the main system prompt or in that specific user request?
Good question. Generally, the main instructions, they set the overall personality and rules. The user message is more for the immediate task, do this now.
Okay, that makes sense. Especially for like a welcome message or the very start of a chat, right? You might need some initial instructions baked in there.
Right, so the AI knows the context from the start. And then later you could have your general JSON rules in the main instructions, but then ask in the user message, hey, look back at the chat and pull out X, Y, and Z in JSON.
So you teach it the general rules, then give it specific tasks.
Kind of like that, yeah. Teach it the game, then ask it to find specific plays in the replay.
The recording also mentioned refining these instructions. Sounds like it can get complicated, like maybe too many instructions or they conflict.
Oh, definitely. It's like giving someone way too many directions at once, they'll get lost. A strategy they highlighted was grouping questions. Ask a bunch of things in one go, maybe in the default reply.
Okay.
Then just use JSON to pick out all the answers from that block of text. It can simplify things compared to having like 10 different question blocks in your flow.
So instead of step-by-step, ask it all at once and let JSON sort it out. That does sound cleaner.
Yeah, lets you ask for multiple things and maps them all correctly to your custom fields. Much tidier for later use.
And you can even build conditions into that main prompt sometimes, instead of complex branching logic.
Often, yes. You can instruct the AI, if they say X, then ask Y, right within the text prompt, rather than needing separate logic blocks in the flow builder.
Interesting. Oh, and there's that quick point about negative phrasing, like telling the AI, don't do this, isn't always the best.
Right. AIs tend to work better with positive instructions. So instead of never ask for their age, you might say, only ask for their birth year if verifying identity. Be explicit about what to do.
Good tip. And the overall advice was, start simple, test, then add complexity. Very iterative.
Absolutely. Test, tweak, test again.
Yeah.
And this led to a really interesting point they made. Sometimes these AI things just work, but you don't fully know why.
Yeah. Like finding the right combination without knowing how the lock works internally.
Exactly. Which, can be a bit frustrating if you like to understand everything.
For sure.
But it also highlights how cutting edge this stuff is.
Yeah.
And the recording touched on the implications, right? The explainability issue. In medicine or finance, you need to know why the AI decided something. Trust is key.
That's a huge point. Now, for anyone listening thinking, okay, JSON prompts, that sounds like coding, the speakers did address that, didn't they?
They did. They emphasize that you don't necessarily need to be a developer to use these tools effectively. It's more about understanding the concepts and being willing to, tinker.
That's empowering. The accessibility is definitely increasing.
For sure.
Okay, so that's JSON for structuring data. Let's shift gears to the other big topic, integrating voice AI. They were talking about 11 labs, specifically with a platform called PayMeGP2.
The goal was this financial box idea, like an IUL policy checker, but using voice.
Making it more natural to interact with.
Right. Moving towards voice interfaces for these automated systems. They talk about setting up agents in 11 labs and linking them via API to PayMeGPT, so systems can talk to each other.
They went into the settings too, right? Like languages, English, Spanish were mentioned.
Yep, and different voice styles, tweaking how conversational it sounds. And of course, the practical side, testing it out, looking at costs.
Costs based on token usage?
Usually, yeah. How much text the AI has to process, either listening or speaking.
And the user experience they were aiming for. Just asking your policy questions and getting spoken answers back sounds pretty slick.
Definitely a step towards a real conversational assistant. The setup in PayMeGPT involved picking 11 labs as the provider and choosing the specific agent you built. That's the bridge.
But they hit a snag, didn't they? Something about summaries.
Yeah, that was interesting. The 11 labs voice agent could handle the Q&A, asking, answering, but generating a summary of the whole conversation seemed to struggle with that.
Whereas the text-based PayMeGPT could do the summary just fine.
Exactly. Which suggests, maybe the voice AI model is optimized differently. More for real-time chat than that kind of analytical summarization task. The text model sees the whole conversation at once.
So they talked workarounds, like prompting the user to type yes for a summary.
A kind of hybrid approach. Use voice for the chat, then maybe switch to text for the summary if needed. Bridge the gap.
They also mentioned settings in 11 labs for conversation length, letting the user hang up. Things you need for a good voice call experience.
Right, the practicalities. And they tried different 11 labs models too, Nano and Flash.
Yeah, what was the difference there?
Sounded like different capabilities, and importantly, different costs. Maybe Nano's cheaper or faster for basic stuff. Flash might be more powerful, but use more tokens, cost more.
Did Flash handle the summary better?
It seemed like it did in one test, yeah. The voice AI guided the user, and then a summary was generated, though they noted the prompt might have been tweaked, maybe affecting the summary detail.
And you definitely need that agent set up in 11 labs first.
Seems so. That agent is like the voice's profile. It's basic instructions.
Its digital persona.
Pretty much. Though interestingly, even with a minimal prompt in 11 labs, it can still have a basic conversation, probably relying on its general knowledge. But for tailored results, good prompts are still key.
Got it. Okay, quick detour. They also mentioned building a Chrome extension with ChatGPT.
Just briefly, yeah. But it underscored that trend AI making development tasks more accessible, even if you're not a traditional coder.
Lowering the barrier to entry.
Definitely.
And then GitHub came up. For listeners maybe not familiar, what's the gist there?
Think of it as sophisticated version control for code. It tracks changes, lets you store your code files, work on them away from the main platform, and sync everything back up.
Like a super-powered save as with history.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Essential for managing complex projects, especially with teams, but even for individuals working on code.
And you'd need a GitHub account for more advanced platform work involving custom code.
Generally, yes. If you're editing code files directly, GitHub is usually how you'd manage and sync them. It's pretty standard in development.
Okay. Lastly, they touched on why some people might resist AI.
Yeah, pointing out it often comes down to a lack of information, maybe some fear of the unknown.
Understandable.
Totally. And that providing clear info, fostering understanding, is really important to help people get comfortable and see the potential benefits.
So wrapping up this deep dive, we looked at JSON, this crucial piece for structuring AI data, letting conversations feel more natural while keeping the data usable.
Right, maintaining that integrity. And then we explored the voice AI side with 11 labs. Really exciting potential for intuitive interfaces, but also, some current limitations like that summarization piece.
We saw how these tools are getting more accessible, not just for coders, empowering more people to streamline things, get insights. That Chrome extension example was a nod to that.
It really is about democratization of these capabilities.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you to chew on. As these AI tools keep evolving so rapidly, what are some unexpected ways they might weave into our daily work and lives beyond what we've even discussed today? Something to think about.
Absolutely. And please, if you're listening, share your own experiences or questions about AI and automation. Your input really helps shape this ongoing exploration. Keep the curiosity going.
That wraps up another discussion on the office hours recap. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And as always, come on over and join us in the Discord room every week live at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. See you next week.